Chapter 6 of Concerning Virgins, Book the 2nd. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Concerning Virgins by St. Ambrose, Book the 2nd, Chapter 6. St. Ambrose, in concluding the second book, ascribes any good there may be in it to the merits of the virgins, and sets forth that it was right before laying down any severe precepts to encourage them by examples, as is done both in human teaching and in Holy Scripture. I, who have been not yet 3 years a bishop, have prepared this offering for you, holy virgins, although untaught by my own experience, yet having learned much from your mode of life. For what experience could have grown up in so short a time of being initiated in religion? If you find any flowers herein, gather them together in the bosom of your lives. These are not precepts for virgins, but instances taken from virgins. My words have sketched the likeness of your virtue. You may see the reflection of your gravity, as it were, in the mirror of this discourse. If you have received any pleasure from my ability, all the fragrance of this book is yours. And since there are as many opinions as there are persons, if there be anything simple in my treatise, let all read it. If anything stronger, let the more mature prove it. If anything modest, let it cleave to the breast and tinge the cheeks. If there be anything flowery, let the flowery age of youth not disdain it. We ought to stir up the love of the bride, for it is written, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God. At bridal feasts we ought to adorn the hair at least with some ornaments of prayer, for it is written, Smite the hands together, and strike with the foot. We ought to scatter roses on those uninterrupted bridals. Even in these temporal marriages the bride is received with acclamation before she receives commands, lest hard commands should hurt her, before love cherished by kindness grows strong. Horses learn to love the sound of patting their necks, that they may not refuse the yoke, and are first trained with words of enticement before the stripe of discipline. But when the horse has submitted its neck to the yoke, the rein pulls in, and the spur urges on, and its companions draw it, and the driver bids it. So too our virgin ought first to play with pious love, and admire the golden supports of the heavenly marriage couch on the very threshold of marriage, and to see the doorposts adorned with wreaths of leaves, and to taste the delight of the musicians playing within, that she may not through fear withdraw herself from the Lord's yoke before she obeys his call. Come then hither from Lebanon, my spouse, come hither from Lebanon, thou shalt pass and pass through. This verse must be often repeated by us, that at least being called by the words of the Lord, she may follow if there be any who will not trust the words of man. We have not formed this power for ourselves, but have received it. This is the heavenly teaching of the mystic song, Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for thy breasts are better than wine, and the odour of thy ointments is above all spices. Thy name is as ointment poured forth. The whole of that place of delights sounds of sport, stirs up approval, calls forth love. Therefore, it continues, have the maidens loved thee, and have drawn thee, let us run after the odour of thy ointments. The king hath brought me into his chamber. She began with kisses, and so attained to the chamber. She, now so patient of hard toil, and of practised virtue, as to open the bars with her hand, go forth into the field, and abide in strongholds, at the beginning ran after the odour of the ointment. Soon, when she is come into the chamber, the ointment is changed. And see whither she goes. If it be a wall, it is said, we will build upon it towers of silver. She, who sported with kisses, now builds towers that, encircled with the precious battlements of the saints, she may not only render fruitless the attacks of the enemy, but also erect the safe defences of holy merits. End of Chapter 6. End of Book the Second of Concerning Virgins by St. Ambrose of Milan.